One last chance for prosecutors. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News, giving their closing arguments at former President Trump's New York hush money trial, spending considerable time on the credibility of former attorney Michael Cohen after the defense took aim at him earlier today in their closing argument.
They went through the list of everyone he's admitted to or gotten caught lying to: his wife, his kids, bankers, federal judges, state judges, Congress. I mean, they went through the list multiple times, and that was the last chance the defense, unless something really unusual happens, will get to talk to this jury. And if you're pinning your entire case on a guy who, even as the prosecution with the burden of proof, says, well, he lies sometimes, the jury's going to have to ask, was he lying this time?
Fox's Shannon Bream. Prosecutors say then President Trump falsified business records to cover up hush money reimbursements to Cohen. Just before the prosecution began its close, the judge telling the jury to disregard what he calls an improper comment from the defense that they shouldn't send the former president to prison. The Israeli military calls the deadly fire at a Palestinian refugee camp in Gaza devastating and says how it started remains under investigation because an airstrike targeting senior Hamas officials was nearly a mile away from that humanitarian area.
As we have said before, Israel has a right to go after the Hamas terrorists responsible for the cold-blooded murder of civilians, as appears to have been Israel's aim here, and Hamas should stop hiding behind civilians in Gaza.
State Department spokesman Matthew Miller says the U.S. will closely watch the results of the Rafah investigation. Just 2 weeks after humanitarian aid started flowing into Gaza from a U.S.-built pier, that aid is now suspended after damage to the pier from rough seas. The Pentagon just confirming the pier will now have to be removed from the Gaza coast for repairs. America is listening to Fox News.
When you use Bounce dryer sheets and your clothes look amazing, it's the sheet. Less static in your life? Yeah, it's the sheet. Smelling fresher than ever? It's the sheet. Oh, so soft fabric? Ooh la la. It's the sheet. Less wrinkles on your clothes? You know it's the sheet. Bounce dryer sheets. More freshness, more softness. Less static, less wrinkles. It's the sheet.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
House Republicans announced an investigation of the National Institutes of Health.
The chairman of the GOP-controlled subcommittee investigating the COVID-19 pandemic says there's, quote, potential conspiracy at the highest levels of the National Institutes of Health to evade the Freedom of Information Act. Chairman Brad Wenstrup sending a letter to the NIH director citing emails from David Morens, the former National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases senior scientific advisor, where he discussed shielding communications about COVID and the EcoHealth Alliance from Freedom of Information requests. Wenstrup is requesting staff-level briefings by June 4th. In Washington, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
A big deal that will further consolidate the cell phone industry. T-Mobile buying U.S. Cellular's wireless operations and certain spectrum assets. The deal valued at more than $4 billion. T-Mobile will also enter into a new master license agreement on more than 2,000 towers. A bill that will keep ride-hailing companies in Minnesota is signed into law.
Minnesota Governor Democrat Tim Walz signing into law a measure that he calls a win for ride-hailing companies and a win for drivers that starting in December will earn $1.28 per mile and 31 cents per minute while transporting riders in Minnesota. The new law overrides a Minneapolis ordinance that would have made companies pay drivers $1.40 per mile and 51 cents per minute. That caused ride-hailing companies to threaten to leave.
We were able to strike a proper balance that made sure that we were holding those values of worker protections, worker fairness, and also making sure that the businesses themselves can continue to thrive.
Uber and Lyft both in statements saying the agreed-upon rate would be enough to keep the companies operating in Minnesota.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. An hour to the close on Wall Street, a sell-off for the Dow, down 294 points, but the NASDAQ's in record territory. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Good afternoon. I'm Andrea Drake with your local and regional news from the Sierra Radio Network newsroom. Here's what's happening. While many were gearing up for the unofficial kickoff to summer this Memorial Day weekend, first responders were on alert after a statewide Amber Alert was issued for a missing 7-year-old boy. Just after noon on Saturdays when the Susanville Police Department received that alert about the kidnapping of the boy by his non-custodial parent. The abduction occurred earlier that morning. It is believed the child was sleeping when his biological father, Jonathan Sr., cut open the boy's bedroom window screen. Recently released from a halfway house, Jonathan Sr. had not had contact with the boy for an extended period of time. Tehama County Sheriffs announced the father was known to have ties to Chico, Redding, and Susanville. As soon as the alert was issued, a Susanville officer immediately began searching for the abductor, and within hours, the officer located and arrested Jonathan Sr. on an out-of-area warrant. The child was found unharmed and was taken into protective custody, where he was later returned to Tehama County. The Susanville Police Department extended their gratitude to the Lassen County Sheriff's Office, California Highway Patrol, Lassen County Child Protective Services, and Walmart for their assistance in the child's successful recovery. On Monday, a couple of earthquakes rattled the Lake Almanor area near Chester. According to the Geological Survey, a magnitude 3.5 quake struck around 7:30 a.m. at a depth of about 1 mile, strong enough to startle vacationers out of their beds. The epicenter was along a known fault line on the peninsula's west side. An earlier, smaller quake with a magnitude of 2.1 did strike near the tip of the peninsula. Several small quakes have been affecting the area since May of last year, following larger 5.5 and 5.2 earthquakes that rocked the region. Those tremors were felt as far away as Susanville, Nevada, and even into the Bay Area. Campers are rejoicing as the season gets underway, and the long holiday weekend saw more campsites open across the Plumas National Forest. Forest officials expect all sites to be open by mid-June. Sites already opened within the Beckworth Ranger District do include Lake Davis and Frenchman Lake recreational areas, along with several campgrounds. Lake's Basin Campground will be opening June 6th, and other nearby sites are expected to open June 14th. For the Feather River Ranger District, Sly Creek, Strawberry, and Golden Trout campgrounds are now open, yet forest officials add that those higher elevation sites, including Little Grass Valley Reservoir, will aim to open by mid-June. Due to ongoing repairs, those visiting Strawberry Campground do need to bring their own water. Many campgrounds, including Long Point, Boulder, and Spanish Creek, are open in the Mount Huff Ranger District. However, Bucks Lake campgrounds do face delays due to snow and hazardous trees. You can expect staggering openings through early June. The Forest Service adds that a few small wildfires have also been reported despite the cooler conditions. You are reminded to use caution with anything that can spark a wildfire. Currently, there are no fire restrictions, but campfires do need to be fully extinguished before you leave. Roads and trails may also still have some snow, mud, or wet conditions, especially on northern slopes and shaded areas, posing some risks. Early season weather does vary. The Forest Service is reminding you to be prepared with proper gear and inform someone of your plans. For more information, you can visit the Plumas National Forest Service's webpage. And emergency repairs to the I-80 corridor are getting a later start this week due to the Memorial Day weekend. I'll tell you when and where those closures are going to be taking place coming up in more local news on 93 JDX 1240 KSUE.
I'll never get these bills paid. Who has time? I have work, the kids' soccer practice, yoga, and...
Relax. Go to cityofsusanville.net and click I want to, then pay utilities.
Really? Hey, you're right. Done.
I told you it was easy. Cityofsusanville.net not only makes bill paying easy, but has great tips on water conservation, an event calendar, and info for all city parks and facilities. Next time, remember, cityofsusanville.net.
Carlson's Tire Pros makes buying tires simpler. They offer a straightforward approach to tire and auto service that includes nationwide warranties, expert advice, and a great selection of Michelin tires. No matter what you drive or where you have driven, Michelin has a tire to fit any need. Visit in-store in Susanville or online at carlsonstirepros.com. Tire Pros. Love the drive.
I don't feel like rubbing your back. Set your phone to vibrate, lay it on your back, and I'll call you. Back pain doesn't just affect you, but everyone around you. A common complaint is low back, hip, tailbone, and leg pain. It's frustrating when you tried most everything, maybe even a vibrating phone. and it still won't go away. Too often the cause of your pain is not in the back at all, but in a tight pelvic muscle, and once it is relieved, your low back, hip, and tailbone pain will go away. Are you suffering from pain in any or all of these areas? There are several things that can cause it. It's time to stop guessing and relying on temporary relief, and time to find the actual cause of your pain. At Susanville Chiropractic, our goal is to do just that, find it and fix it. Call 530-257-7751, and let's get to the bottom of this.
For more than 30 years, the Sierra Cascade Family Opportunities Head Start team has supported children, families, and staff to reach their highest potential. We are now seeking dedicated and caring individuals for classroom, family support, and kitchen staff, as well as substitutes in various locations throughout Lassen, Modoc, and Plumas counties. We support our staff in furthering their education along the Head Start career ladder. For information, please call us at 800-404-1242.
1211 local news on 93 JDX 1240 KSUE. Emergency repairs to the I-80 corridor get a later start this week due to the Memorial Day weekend. Caltrans is reminding you of those upcoming lane and ramp closures throughout the corridor in Placer, Nevada, and Sierra counties as work does continue impacting travel along the route. Multiple lane closures will be in place on both westbound and eastbound lanes at various locations beginning this evening and continuing through Friday midday. Work hours will typically be between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. If you are planning weekend travel along the I-80 corridor, there should be little to no interruptions as no work is planned for Saturday or Sundays. Plan ahead if you are trying to get out midweek before the weekend rush to accommodate these construction times. The emergency repairs are part of a $107 million effort to repair cracks, potholes, and deep ruts on the roadway that likely would not hold up through another winter, following an extensive field review of the I-80 corridor last year. Caltrans will continue to share detailed lane closures throughout the project. In continued efforts to improve the Klamath River ecosystem, CDFW has released millions of Chinook salmon into the river. The young salmon are about 6 months old and hatched from the CDFW's newest hatchery, Fall Creek, which replaces the 63-year-old Iron Gate hatchery. This release contributes to the new facility's exceeding production goals, already producing over 3.25 million salmon in its first year. Due to optimal weather conditions, smolt releases were able to get a head start this year. The California Department of Fish and Wildlife contributes the historical removal of the dams along the Klamath River as providing the opportunity to restore the salmon populations, as the 3 remaining dams targeted for removal, J.C. Boyle, Copco 1, and Iron Gate, could potentially open up more free fish passage and access to hundreds of miles of new spawning and rearing habitat to salmon returning to the ocean as early as this fall. CDFW plans another release of 250,000 to 300,000 yearling fall-run Chinook salmon later this year. If dam removal proceeds at its current pace, CDFW expects to release the fish directly from its Fall Creek fish hatchery into Fall Creek, which has been inaccessible to salmon due to its location behind the Iron Gate Dam. And that is what's happening today from your only local news radio, keeping you informed and connected to your communities throughout Lassen, Plumas, and Sierra counties. Northeast California weather. And at 12:14, time to take a look at your 3-day northeastern California weather. Currently sitting at 76 degrees outside the studios here in Susanville. We are expected to see those highs peak right around 82 today. Winds will be picking up, gusting as high as 25 miles per hour, and it will get stronger heading into the evening. So just be aware. Lows will be down to about 45. Tomorrow we'll see more sunshine, however, slightly cooler highs in those upper 70s. Lows down to about 43, and then that warming trend returns for your Thursday, highs back into those lower 80s and on trend to reach nearly 90 degrees by the weekend. All your weather updates heard right here throughout your day, as well as while you're on the go through our app, Sierra Daily News. Also found on our website, SierraDailyNews.com, are obituaries provided by Fink's Funeral Home. All new announcements will be heard here each weekday following your news at noon. That will wrap things up for your Tuesday news updates. Of course, more local news is coming up for you on Live at 5 with your hosts Amanda and Aaron. And join the team for True Crime Tuesdays back here on the 5. You can catch all that fun again right back here starting at 5 o'clock. And 93 JDX is getting set to take to the road as we're going to be broadcasting live from major summer events throughout our area. JDX will be live on location at the upcoming Powwow, June 22nd. Then the following weekend, Aaron will be live from the annual Main Cruise over at Memorial Park, Saturday, June 29th. And we're just getting warmed up for the Paul Bunyan Festival in Westwood, Saturday, July 6th. We'll see you all during our busy summer calendar of events. You want to check out more details on those, head over to SierraDailyNews.com. From the Sierra Radio Network Newsroom, I'm Andrea Drake. Thanks for keeping it right here with me for your local and regional noon news. Stick around. Your checkup on health is next. Then more of Sierra's Best Country on 93 JDX and Fox Across America, Jimmy Fela on 1240 KSUE.
Are you dealing with blood sugar issues that make you feel sluggish after meals or have low energy in general? Do you crave sweets and junk food? Have you been told that you are pre-diabetic or at risk of developing diabetes? It is important to learn all you can about healthy lifestyles to prevent this disease or manage it well. Northeastern Rural Health Clinic offers a free diabetes class. We meet every third Tuesday each month from 2 to 4 p.m. We discuss all issues and challenges of living well with diabetes or preventing it. Everyone interested in learning about diabetes is welcome. This month we are meeting on Tuesday, May 21st at 2 p.m. We will have a guest speaker provider, Tanya Villers, F&P, discussing the role of medications to help control blood sugars and how they work. If you have questions, call health educator Debbie Jones at 251-5000. That's 251-5000, or just show up on May 21st at 2 p.m. Hope to see you there. A service of Northeastern Rural Health Clinic, where quality health care is your choice and our commitment.
Check up on health with Chris Whitting.
Kids who text or use the internet right before bed may suffer poor sleep at night, as well as mood and cognitive problems during the day. According to a study led by Peter Polos from the Sleep Disorder Center of JFK Medical Center in Edison, New Jersey. His advice for parents?
As a sleep specialist, the first thing we have to do is establish good sleep habits in our children. From, infancy to toddler to adolescent. If children understand how they should sleep with a proper, cool, dark, rewarding sleep environment, not with a lot of bombardment of noise and heat and television, etc., and get them in good sleep habits earlier, as they get older and we lose a little control when they have access to these media, we're starting from a better place.
Dr. Polo says in the worst-case scenario, remove the electronic devices from bedrooms well before bedtime. With Checkup on Health, I'm Chris Whitting.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Don't worry, we got you covered. More of Fox Across America coming up on KSUE Susanville. Clinton paid over $800,000 in hush money.
This is not okay.
But it was okay at the time because he had a D next to his name. It was okay at the time because most Americans realized that we might not have appreciated the character of the man in office. Okay, but we also weren't voting based on character alone. Because your house, your family's well-being, your ability to pursue a quality lifestyle in this country hinges on everything but what the Democrats focus on. Does sending all the money in the world to Ukraine improve the quality of life here?
The answer would be no.
No. They can't even give you a deliverable on what would constitute victory. I'm not saying it shouldn't happen. I'm not saying I'm